Hello, friends. It's Mrs. Whitaker. We're going to go through our letter cards. We're going to start with all right, here we go. Yo-yo, itch, edge, jam, queen, dog, ox, wagon, zebra, bucks, van, nest, kite. All right, ready for letter, picture, sound. I'm going to mix the cards up. All right, B, boy, B. H, hat, T, top, T. S, snake, S. C, cat, K. G, goat, G. M, man, M. R, rat, R. L, lamp, L. A, apple, ah. F, fish, F, F, F. P, pig, P. U, up, Very good, very good. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and go to our reading. Here we are in our reading room. I really encourage you to check out some of these books and these videos. And now we are going to Wednesday. All right, we're continuing to talk about important people in American history, and we're talking about the Native Americans this week, and we learned that the first people who lived in America, and they were called the Native Americans. Think back on some of the things that we have learned. What did the Native Americans do long, long ago? They were hunting and fishing and grew corn and beans and pumpkins. They made their houses out of logs and sticks and leaves and vines. They made their own baskets. They made their own clothes because they couldn't go to the store for those things, could they? And they also cooked over a fire. All right. This is the king. Long, long ago, before your mother and father were born, or even your grandparents, there were people that lived in a country called England. Say that with me, England. In England, the king made all the rules, and he made rules about what people could and could not do. He even made rules about what church people could go to. Here is the king, and here is a man right here in the green. He's going through all of the king's rules. He's telling what the people have to do. Do you think everyone liked following these rules? Do you like following all the rules? The pilgrims down here didn't like all of the king's rules, and they didn't want to live the way the king told them to live, and they thought some of the rules were unfair. So they decided to leave the king and his unfair rules and move to America, where they could do what they thought was fair. But to get to America, they had to cross the ocean. So they had to sail a long time to get across the Atlantic Ocean. They sailed in a boat called the Mayflower. Their journey was very hard, and the ship rocked back and forth on the sea, and that made a lot of people sick. The pilgrims just kept remembering that they were going to a new home to make their own rules, and that made them feel a little better and keep going. So they went on a ship called the Mayflower because there weren't airplanes, so people couldn't just get on an airplane over in England to fly to America. They had to get on a boat to cross the ocean. And this ship was a really, really big boat. Would you have liked to sail on the Mayflower with the Pilgrims? What do you think? I'm not sure how I would feel about that. I think it may be a little rocky on the ocean. I think I might be a little scared traveling to a new place, but I might be kind of excited for a new adventure. Let's see what happens next. Finally, the pilgrims arrived in America and they were surprised at what they saw. They saw lots of trees and forests and wild animals. And they met the people who lived in America, the Native Americans. And the Native Americans looked and dressed differently than the pilgrims, and they spoke a different language that the pilgrims couldn't understand. We have to remember that the Native Americans were already living here in America before the pilgrims arrived. And so the Native Americans knew lots about how to grow food and build houses in the place where they lived. Remember in the story that we read yesterday? And they were very helpful to the pilgrims, weren't they? Absolutely. All right. You see that the Native American is holding up corn, isn't he? So one day the pilgrims met a Native American man who knew how to speak English, and he told them that his name was Tecumseh, but people called him Squanto. Squanto became a special friend to the Pilgrims. He taught them many things about how to live in America, and he showed them how to use wood to build houses, and he gave them seeds to plant so that they could grow corn and beans and pumpkins. And he showed them the best places to hunt and fish. The Pilgrims were so grateful to Squanto for helping them learn to live in their new land. All right, let's see what kinds of things do they have on the table there. Yeah, look at all of those things sitting down to a feast. Squanto told the Pilgrims that every year it was time to harvest, and that's when they collect all the crops from the fields. And he and the other Native Americans had a big celebration. After the harvest that year, Pilgrims and Native Americans celebrated together. They roasted turkey and fish and deer, and they cooked corn and pumpkins and beans, and they saw how much good food they had, and they gave thanks for being together. The Pilgrims also thanked the Native Americans for helping them make a home in America where they could follow their own rules rather than the rules of the king. So here the Pilgrims are saying, thank you for Squanto. Yeah, very good. All right, look at this picture. This family at the Thanksgiving table. And that's a celebration that we're having in just a little over a week. So on Thanksgiving, we remember the celebration that the Pilgrims and the Native Americans had a long, long time ago. On Thanksgiving, families and friends eat a special meal together. Some families have turkey and corn and beans, just like the Pilgrims, and Native Americans did a long time ago. Americans celebrate Thanksgiving to remember all the things that they are thankful for. So, what are some things that you are thankful for? And how do you celebrate Thanksgiving with your family?